Thank you, Jason. Bob, first of all, the largest hockey league in the state of Illinois. That alone is pretty big. And second overall in the United States of America, your organization. Day to day, you are the president. It's got to be pretty hectic.
It does have its moments where it's real hectic. I think right now, January and February are the two busiest times. We also get busy at the end of October when we reseed all the teams. But I think with some of the issues that's going on in Michigan, where the league is changing a little, I think last look we were the largest in the U.S.
Wow.
So that may change, but those are the numbers, and we're definitely the largest girls league in the Midwest.
Cool. So 300 individual teams.
Yeah, just under. It's about 280 this year.
Okay. 50
fluctuates.
organizations.
51, yes.
Take us through what happens at the start of the year, the tiering and the equality, trying to make everything equal, because there's a number of different levels at each age group.
Yeah, we have several different levels at each age group. So at the beginning of the season, the hockey director, presidents of each organization put their teams where they want to put them. So they can put them anywhere. We have gold, silver, and bronze in the tiering. And then we also have what's called Premier Select, which is our very top level. So the teams put them in there. Now, they don't always seed them right, so we go through a 6 to 9 game preseason seeding schedule where they play where they put them. Then a group of people get in a room and we meet and we put them all together. And based on their record and several other things, it takes probably 6-7 hours. We're in this room, and we put them all into the levels where we try and make it so every game will be a 1 or 2 goal game. So then it becomes, at the end of that, we go into the regular season, which becomes Premier Select, Elite, Gold, 3 different silver levels, 1, 2, and 3, and 3 different bronze levels, 1, 2, and 3. Sometimes based on numbers, it's 2 bronze or 2 silver, but we have it 8 or 9 levels so that it works. Now, of course, with 300 teams, you're not going to get everyone right. But we would say that maybe if you go on our website and look at the plus minuses for teams, there's maybe a dozen that are not having good seasons because they're either winning or losing by a lot. But I think at last look at the Pee Wee Silver Tier 2 level, I believe it was the best team was +9, and the worst team in the division was -7. So that's a pretty good experience for all those kids involved.
And the greatest thing really is the number of kids that are playing with all those divisions that you're just mentioning. Let's talk about the partnership with the Wolves. NIHL does have, and it really does start tonight. So what's going on?
Well, I was known Tim for a couple years now, and Tim mentioned that this was their 30th anniversary, and he would like to honor some NIHL players that have played for the Wolves. So we got together, and he had a nice list, and I knew of some of the people. We got together, and we decided to celebrate it tonight with let NIHL kids come and see what happens at the next level.
That's very cool. It'll be a fun night for sure. Let me ask you too. I've read a couple things about what you have talked about in the game of hockey at the youth level, and you said you felt there was a little bit of a stagnant situation occurring for maybe a couple of years. What do you need to do to grow this game a little bit more in the future, or what are you thinking, ideas?
You know, I think it's got to start at the Tier 3 level. I think hockey is a pyramid, as you know from playing at high level, and you have your house, and then as you get all the way up to the NHL, it's the smallest of pyramids. Well, I think what's happened in the last few years in Illinois is that the pyramid has become a diamond. And our house leagues are shrinking because kids are getting pushed up to Tier 2 faster than they want. And with the addition of a 5th Tier 1 team, I think they're getting pushed up to Tier 1 faster than they want. So the bottom of the pyramid is now becoming a diamond. And it's kind of eroding the growth of getting kids in the door to play.
I did read also, and I think this is a great point, and something that you did is you sent out surveys to each organizations and teams trying to get some input from individuals, and I think that's the transparency that we were just talking about.
Yes.
You'd like to see, how has that feedback been, and what's been maybe something you have said, well, geez, that's a good point.
That's interesting. Yeah, before we do anything, we're one of the only leagues of any sport where every decision is made by the members. So when things are voted on for rule changes and various items, it's brought about by the members. The executive board doesn't actually vote on them. So the voting members, the 51 clubs, vote. So a lot of times before we do anything, we send out a survey. This year we haven't sent one out yet, but last year we sent out a couple based on some playoff ideas and things that if clubs would like to see this happen. And we got some feedback, and we actually made a couple small tweaks, and then we brought them up to voting. We've had people talk about warm-ups, shrinking warm-ups because ice cost is rising so much. And we thought, oh, that's not a bad deal. We sent out some surveys. A lot of people were against it because they didn't want to change it, so we ended up keeping it the same. So
Yeah, you can't make everybody happy,
No.
especially in the game of hockey. It's
Right.
unbelievable. Lastly, let's talk about the Wolves and the number of players. There's over 20 alumni that play for Chicago Wolves that played in the NIHL. And maybe you could talk about, as you grow older and the coaching, et cetera, becomes such an issue to help individuals become maybe even pros, like the number of Wolves players that went through your system.
Well, I would think, and doing the last couple of years, I've done a lot more research on this. And the biggest thing that I found, and you probably know this, is even big stars will tell me that the biggest thing to do when you're 8, 10, 12, 14 even, is to have fun and make sure that every season is competitive. And if you're having fun and you're learning and you're growing, then your skill will continue to build. So what we're finding out is the more competitive we make it, the more it enhances growth. So kids, I encourage kids to stay. If they're really getting good coaching and they like who they have and they like their friends, like who they're playing with, I encourage them to stay where they're at rather than just make jumps because somebody is telling them, well, this will really benefit your career, because the person telling you that is not really looking out for the best of your career.
Absolutely agree with that. That's a great way to end this conversation and end the new relationship with the Chicago Wolves. Bob, thanks for joining us, and have a great rest of the year.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
We'll be back with more of the second intermission after this.
Go on. You told me that.